No. He put the sleepy snow in it. 4-year-old Lily Vale shoved the plate so hard that a strawberry slid across the breakfast table and dropped onto the white rug. The new chef's pancakes were shaped like small stars, exactly the way she had loved them when the retired cook made them, with sliced bananas for moons and a little cup of maple syrup beside the plate. Yet Lily stared at the food as though it had moved. Her lower lip trembled. She pushed herself backward in the chair, clutching the edge with both hands. Chef Mateo Ruiz stood near the dining room doors, still holding a folded kitchen towel. Surprise passed across his face, followed by embarrassment. It was his 4th morning at the Vale estate, and the 3rd meal the child had refused. He had trained in hotel kitchens, worked with children who had allergies and sensory difficulties, and spent the previous evening reading every note left by the longtime cook. He had prepared nothing unfamiliar. Across from Lily, her father checked the time on his phone. Alexander Vale was already late for a meeting. "There is no snow in your breakfast, sweetheart." Sleepy snow. Lily pointed at the pancakes without looking away from them. Bad sprinkles. Her nanny, Evelyn Shaw, lowered herself beside the chair with practiced calm. She had cared for Lily since shortly after the death of the child's mother 2 years earlier. She wore soft gray, spoke in an even voice, and kept detailed notebooks on Lily's sleep, appetite, moods, and therapy exercises. "She is imagining the powdered sugar from yesterday," Evelyn said. "We have discussed how change can cause her to create stories." Mateo looked at the plate. "There is no powdered sugar." Evelyn gave him a patient smile. Children do not always separate one meal from another. Alexander put down his phone. "Lily, Mateo worked hard to make your favorite breakfast." Lily's eyes filled. "No kitchen food." "She is testing limits," Evelyn said. "If we reward this, she will reject every new person who enters the house." Mateo offered to prepare toast, oatmeal, eggs, or fruit. Lily refused each suggestion before he finished speaking. Then she noticed a sealed packet of crackers beside Alexander's coffee. She reached for it. Alexander opened his hand but did not break the wrapper. Lily took the packet, examined the seal, and opened it herself. She ate the first cracker immediately. She was hungry. Mateo saw it. Alexander saw it too. Evelyn's expression remained composed. Control behavior. She feels safer when she opens the package. Lily chewed, watching Evelyn's hands. Then she leaned toward her father and whispered, "It only happens after he leaves." Alexander frowned. "After who leaves?" Lily pointed at Mateo, then covered her mouth as if she had already said too much. The pattern continued through lunch. Mateo prepared plain grilled cheese with tomato soup, another favorite listed in the old cook's notes. Lily watched from the kitchen doorway while he buttered the bread, cut the cheese, and heated the soup. She seemed curious until Evelyn entered. The nanny rested one hand on the child's shoulder and told her to wait in the schoolroom while the table was set. Lily refused. Evelyn called the refusal defiance. Alexander, joining by video from his office, because he had promised to observe lunch, told Lily to listen. At the table, Lily smelled the sandwich before touching it. She lifted the top slice of bread and inspected the melted cheese. She dipped one finger into the soup, then wiped it on her napkin. When Evelyn moved the bowl closer, Lily recoiled. Mateo said, "Let her choose something else." Evelyn replied, "You are here to cook, not manage her behavior." The words were polite, but the dismissal was clear. Lily hid half the sandwich beneath her napkin. Evelyn discovered it and insisted she take 3 bites. Alexander supported the rule from the screen, believing consistency mattered. Lily swallowed 1 bite while crying silently. 40 minutes later, she became so sleepy that she could not keep her head upright during a picture book. Evelyn carried her upstairs and told Alexander the morning tantrum had exhausted her. She slept through the afternoon. When Alexander returned at 6, Lily woke confused and asked why breakfast had become dark. She had missed lunch in her own memory, missed the schoolroom, and missed the sunlight crossing her bedroom wall. Evelyn wrote in her notebook that Lily had experienced an emotional crash after oppositional behavior. The pediatrician's office was called. A nurse suggested monitoring for fever or illness. Lily had neither. At dinner, she refused the chicken Mateo prepared and asked for a banana. Alexander peeled it in front of her. She ate the whole thing. The next morning, Mateo changed his approach. He placed a small cutting board at the end of the kitchen island and asked Lily whether she wanted to help make breakfast. Evelyn objected that the kitchen was not appropriate for a child. Mateo explained that Lily would remain away from heat and knives. Alexander, curious about the pattern, allowed it. Lily watched Mateo open a new loaf of bread. He let her press a star-shaped cutter into 2 slices. She watched him crack an egg, whisk it with milk, dip the bread, and cook it in a clean pan. He carried the plate directly to the island and sat across from her without leaving the room. Evelyn reached for the plate. "I'll take that to the dining room." Lily pulled it back. "No," Mateo said. "She can eat here." Evelyn's smile tightened. Her schedule exists for a reason. Alexander expected another struggle, but Lily took a bite while Mateo remained seated. Then another. She finished 1 star and asked for the second. Mateo did not celebrate or praise her excessively. He only asked, "What made this one feel safe?" Lily considered the question. "You stayed," Evelyn said. "She is attaching conditions to eating." Mateo kept his eyes on Lily. "Do you want me to stay when food comes?" The child nodded for the first time. She looked at the chef without fear. Later, when the plate returned to the kitchen, Mateo noticed a bitter medicinal smell on the untouched syrup cup. He checked the bottle he had used. It smelled normal. He washed the cup, then opened his recipe log. Every meal at the estate was documented because Lily had a mild nut allergy and Alexander required strict ingredient records. Mateo wrote down the smell, the time, and who had carried the plate from the kitchen. He did not accuse anyone. Professional kitchens survived on details. That afternoon he counted the honey sticks, vitamin powder, and children's electrolyte packets stored in the pantry. Nothing unusual was missing. Yet 2 small ceramic condiment bowls had disappeared from the service shelf since his arrival. A kitchen assistant assumed Evelyn had taken them for Lily's supplements. Mateo asked which supplements. The assistant did not know. At dinner, Lily ate apple slices directly from a whole apple she watched Mateo cut. She refused pasta after Evelyn carried it from the kitchen to the dining room. Alexander's patience thinned. He took Mateo aside afterward. "My daughter has eaten normally with every cook we have employed." Mateo folded his hands behind his back. "Then the timing matters. Are you suggesting someone is interfering with your food?" "I am saying her fear follows a pattern." Evelyn stood in the doorway. "The pattern is that she rejects meals associated with him unless he gives her special attention." Mateo turned toward her. "She also becomes frightened when you approach her plate." Evelyn's eyes cooled. "Be careful." Alexander asked Mateo whether he had brought any supplements, sleep aids, herbal powders, or unfamiliar ingredients into the estate. Mateo answered no and offered immediate access to his records, cabinets, and personal bag. "A child refusing my food hurts my pride," he said. "A child being afraid of my food concerns me more." Alexander considered dismissing him anyway. The simplest explanation was that Lily disliked the new chef and had discovered that dramatic language brought her father's attention. Evelyn's behavioral notes supported that explanation. She had recorded worsening anxiety, sleep resistance, separation fears, and imaginative statements for months. According to her, Lily needed firmer boundaries, perhaps another psychiatric evaluation. Then Lily wandered into the hallway holding a cup of milk. She saw Evelyn and stopped. Without taking her eyes off the nanny, she placed the cup on the floor. "She makes the food go to sleep," Lily said. Evelyn sighed. This is precisely what I mean. Alexander looked at the milk, then at his daughter. Who is she? Lily's answer was barely audible. Evie. The room became still. Evelyn recovered first. She calls me Evie when she is distressed. She is connecting me with bedtime because I manage her evening routine. Alexander did not accuse her. He could not make himself connect the woman who had held Lily during funeral week with the image his daughter seemed to describe. Evelyn had slept in a chair outside the nursery after Lily's mother died. She attended medical appointments, organized therapy, and answered Alexander's calls at any hour. When he traveled, she sent photographs and reports. She had made herself the one person who always seemed to know what Lily needed. Alexander asked the estate security director to review footage from the kitchen entrances and main preparation area. Cameras had been installed after valuable wine disappeared the previous year. They covered doors, counters, and food storage areas, but not private rooms. The first footage showed Matteo preparing lunch exactly as his records described. He washed his hands, opened sealed ingredients, checked labels, and used only the items entrance to answer a call from the supplier. 20 seconds later, Evelyn entered. She looked toward both doors, opened an upper cabinet, and positioned the door so that it blocked the camera's view of the plate. She remained behind it for 34 seconds. When she closed the cabinet, she carried Lily's tray away. The footage did not show what she had done. Evelyn watched beside Alexander in the security room. I added her vitamin supplement. What supplement? The pediatric sleep support blend approved last year. Alexander frowned. Sleep support at lunch, a smaller dose. Her therapist believed it reduced agitation. Matteo said, the returned soup smelled medicinal. Evelyn turned on him. You are trying to save your position. She went upstairs and returned with a brown bottle bearing Lily's name and dosage instructions. The label described a compounded vitamin and mineral powder intended to support sleep regulation. The prescribing line displayed the pediatric clinic's name. Alexander recognized the bottle from the nursery cabinet. He had seen Evelyn mix supplements into yogurt before. The explanation was plausible enough to pull suspicion back toward Matteo and Lily's anxiety. The security director found a second angle from the pantry entrance. It showed Lily standing behind the partially open door. The child watched Evelyn reach into her pocket and remove a small silver container. Evelyn opened it over the plate. Her hand moved twice above the soup. The image was too distant to identify what fell. Lily covered her mouth, stepped backward, and ran. Alexander replayed the clip. That is why she said it happens after he leaves. Evelyn remained calm, because she dislikes supplements and knows I add them when the chef is gone. I do it privately so she does not become fixated. Why carry the powder in your pocket if the bottle stays upstairs? I portion doses in advance. Matteo asked why a sleep supplement was added to lunch without his knowledge when he was responsible for allergy control. Evelyn replied that medical care outranked kitchen procedure. Alexander called Lily's pediatrician directly. Dr. Singh sounded surprised when he mentioned the compounded bottle. I prescribed no sleep supplement, she said. Alexander read the label aloud. That did not come from my clinic. We do not use that compounding pharmacy. What about vitamins mixed into meals? Lily takes a standard children's chewable when tolerated. Nothing crushed, nothing sedating. Evelyn's face changed for the first time, Dr. Singh continued. Most reports of Lily's sleep problems came through Miss Shaw's notes. She repeatedly rescheduled appointments when you planned to attend, usually saying your travel changed or Lily was too distressed. I have not examined Lily with you present in 8 months, Alexander remembered. Alexander remembered blocked calendar invitations and last-minute messages from Evelyn saying there was no reason to interrupt his work for routine appointments. He had been grateful. He asked the security director to restrict Evelyn's access to the nursery, kitchen, and exterior doors, while an independent physician examined Lily. Evelyn objected that sudden separation would traumatize the child. Lily had already moved behind Matteo. "Do not use her fears as proof that she needs you," Alexander said. The doctor who arrived collected blood and urine samples, examined Lily, and asked simple questions without Evelyn present. Lily described white snow that made her eyes heavy and morning disappear, she said. Evelyn sometimes told her she had been naughty at night, though Lily could not remember being awake. She remembered begging her father to stay once because Evie has the sleepy cup, but Alexander had taken a business call and left before bedtime. He had interpreted the words as resistance to routine. The preliminary examination could not establish how often Lily had been drugged, but the doctor found signs consistent with repeated sedating medication. She advised immediate testing and observation without creating a frightening emergency for the child. Alexander reviewed older footage with Matteo and the security director. No single recording showed the entire pattern. Together, the clips formed one. On a Monday night 6 weeks earlier, Matteo's predecessor prepared vegetable soup and left the kitchen. Evelyn entered 5 minutes later, blocked the camera with a pantry drawer, and carried the bowl upstairs. Exterior records showed her car leaving the estate 40 minutes after Lily's bedroom lights went out. She returned at 2:12 in the morning. On another evening, she crushed something at the far end of the kitchen island, partly hidden by a flower arrangement. The nursery hallway camera later showed Lily walking unsteadily toward her bedroom while Evelyn guided her by the shoulder. A third clip showed Evelyn pouring powder into warm milk. After Lily drank it, Evelyn left through the side entrance, carrying an overnight bag. Access logs revealed that she had left the estate during 27 overnight shifts in 5 months, sometimes for 3 or 4 hours. She had been paid to remain with Lily. Alexander asked the estate accountant to compare Evelyn's overtime claims with gate records. On nights she left, she had billed hours for managing Lily's insomnia. The payments were not enormous, but they showed another reason the child's condition had to appear severe. Evelyn had requested 2 salary increases, each supported by reports describing worsening behavior and the need for constant supervision. Alexander had approved both without speaking to Lily's doctor. The discovery did not explain the abuse by itself. It showed how thoroughly one invented problem had been turned into authority, income, and permission to remain unquestioned. Online purchase records recovered from a household tablet showed repeated orders for over-the-counter sleep tablets and a stronger sedating antihistamine. The orders had been delivered to a parcel locker rather than the estate. A pharmacy receipt was found inside Evelyn's locked office drawer after counsel authorized the search. Matteo examined residue from 2 returned bowls stored for allergy review. He recognized the same bitter chemical smell he had noticed in the syrup cup. Laboratory testing would be required for certainty, but it was not part of any ingredient he used. The only supporting witnesses were a night housekeeper and Alexander's driver. The housekeeper remembered several mornings when Lily was unusually difficult to wake. Evelyn told her the child had experienced nightmares and instructed staff not to disturb the routine. The driver recalled taking Evelyn to a restaurant twice during supposed overnight duty because she said another nanny had arrived. No second nanny was registered at the gate. Alexander opened Evelyn's behavioral files. The notes described violent tantrums, prolonged night waking, manipulation, and worsening separation anxiety. Yet household footage showed long periods when Lily was not awake at all. Medical appointments had been canceled whenever the doctor requested direct observation. Evelyn's reports created the condition that made her appear indispensable. The more troubled Lily seemed on paper, the more authority Evelyn received over schedules, medication, and access. Alexander remembered warning signs he had accepted as grief. Lily refusing drinks unless he opened them. Lily hiding crackers in her bedroom. Morning confusion. Long naps after nights Evelyn supervised. A drawing at therapy covered in white dots over a black cup. The therapist had called it weather imagery. Evelyn had said snow reminded Lily of her mother's funeral. Lily had been communicating. Adults had translated her words into whatever explanation fit their confidence. Evelyn realized the investigation had moved beyond the chef. She asked to speak privately with Alexander and arrived carrying her notebooks in a neat stack. "This is becoming dangerous for Lily," she said. "She needs urgent inpatient psychiatric evaluation before these stories become fixed beliefs. She needs an independent medical assessment. She is suggestible. Mateo has encouraged her food refusal, and now everyone is rewarding it." The doctor found signs of sedation from prescribed antihistamines. No sedative was prescribed. "You authorized me to manage treatment generally after Caroline died. I authorized appointments and routine care, not drugging my daughter." Evelyn's expression tightened. Drugging is an inflammatory word. Alexander asked why she left the estate during overnight shifts. She said she took short breaks because the workload was unsustainable. When shown the access logs, she claimed Lily was safely asleep and monitored by staff. The night housekeeper denied being assigned childcare responsibility. Evelyn then offered to resign quietly. She would surrender her notes, sign a confidentiality agreement, and leave immediately if Alexander avoided involving authorities. "A public accusation will damage Lily more than anyone," she said. "She will become the child whose nanny poisoned her." Alexander heard the old mechanism. Protect Evelyn by redefining silence as protection for Lily. "No," he said. Evelyn tried one final move. She produced a calendar entry for a medical appointment that afternoon and insisted Lily should leave with her before the doctor's availability closed. Alexander checked the clinic. No appointment existed. Lily remained in the sunroom with Mateo and the independent physician, opening a sealed yogurt by herself. Alexander instructed security that she was not to leave with anyone except him or a doctor he approved. There was no dramatic struggle. Evelyn simply stood in the foyer, seeing the authority she had built disappear. The final footage came from an older archive stored off-site. The kitchen camera had been repositioned briefly during renovations 3 months earlier, creating an angle no longer active. The clip showed Evelyn alone at the island after the cook left. She checked both entrances. She removed 2 tablets from a foil packet, placed them in a small ceramic bowl, and crushed them with the back of a spoon. She poured the powder into Lily's macaroni, stirred carefully, and wiped the bowl clean. 20 minutes later, the hallway camera showed Lily being carried upstairs, limp with sleep. At 9:17, Evelyn changed clothes and left the estate. The clip contained no confession. It did not need one. Alexander played it in the security room, with Evelyn seated across from him, Mateo near the door, and legal counsel present. When it ended, Evelyn said the tablets were harmless and necessary. She insisted Lily had screamed for hours before she began using them, and that Alexander had no idea what the child was like when he traveled. "You were never here," she said. Someone had to keep her manageable. Alexander looked at the frozen image of his daughter's untouched place setting. "You did not manage her," he said. "You made her helpless." Evelyn accused him of abandoning every difficult responsibility after his wife's death and leaving her to hold the household together. Part of the accusation was true. He had trusted schedules, reports, and professional certainty because they allowed him to love Lily without remaining close enough to feel incompetent. His absence had created unchecked authority. It had not placed tablets in Evelyn's hand. "You abused the access I gave you," he said. "My failure to pay attention does not reduce your responsibility. It increases mine to act now." He dismissed her immediately. The evidence was preserved and reported to the appropriate authorities. Security escorted her from the estate without spectacle. No staff gathered to watch. That evening, Alexander sat beside Lily at the kitchen island. Matteo remained across from them but prepared nothing. Alexander turned off his phone when it rang. "What food feels safe?" he asked. Lily thought for a long time. Banana. He placed an unpeeled banana in front of her. She opened it herself but did not eat. "Toast," she said. Matteo set a sealed loaf on the counter. Lily watched Alexander open it. Matteo let her choose one slice. She watched it go into the toaster and watched it come out. No plate left the room. No adult touched it after she approved. Alexander placed the toast on a clean napkin. Lily looked at him. "You stay? I stay." She took one bite. He did not praise her. He did not tell her everything was safe now. He stayed while she chewed, and when she stopped after 3 bites, he did not ask for another. "You told me the food was scary," he said. "I should have listened." Lily touched the edge of the toast. "Evie made it sleep. Yes. She gone? Yes." Lily looked toward the kitchen door. "Matteo, stay, if you want him to." Matteo said, "I can stay where you can see me." Lily nodded. Several weeks later, Truss returned in small portions. Lily still opened her own yogurt and refused any drink she had not watched being poured. Some days she ate only fruit, toast, and sealed snacks. An independent team reviewed medication, childcare, and household reporting procedures. No one person would again control Lily's schedule, medical notes, meals, and communication with Alexander. He attended appointments himself and ate breakfast and dinner with her whenever he was home. When travel was unavoidable, he spoke directly with multiple caregivers instead of accepting one polished report. Matteo turned part of the kitchen island into Lily's preparation space. She washed strawberries in a small bowl, tore lettuce with her hands, and counted carrot pieces into soup. He explained every ingredient without asking her to trust him faster than she could. If he stepped away, he covered the food and waited for her before continuing. One rainy evening, Matteo prepared a simple chicken and rice soup while Lily sat on a stool beside the stove at a safe distance. She watched him add broth, rice, carrots, and pieces of chicken. Alexander stood beside her. His phone vibrated twice with calls from overseas. He silenced it without checking the screen. When the soup was ready, Matteo poured one small bowl. He placed it in front of Lily, but did not tell her to eat. She smelled it. She examined the spoon. She looked at Matteo, then at her father. Alexander stayed still. Lily took one careful spoonful. She held it in her mouth, thinking. Then she swallowed. "No sleepy snow," she said. Matteo's voice was quiet. "Never." Alexander understood that the promise was not only about food. It was about every warning Lily might struggle to explain, every frightened word that sounded incomplete, and every moment when calm authority tried to speak louder than a child. Lily lifted the spoon again. This time, no one hurried her.